Brought to you by...
Before we begin, this video is sponsored by Surfshark. For more information, stay tuned after the video or follow the link in the description to secure your digital life with Surfshark VPN. Surfshark. VPN made easy, security made effortless. Pain and loss carve deep scars into the soul, leaving behind an emptiness that feels insurmountable. A quiet yet deafening weight that shadows every thought. The looming threat of suicide, in its false promise of relief, often tempts the weary, whispering of an escape from the unrelenting ache. But within the abyss, no matter how deep it may feel, there lies a small, flickering light. To confront that darkness is an act of quiet rebellion, a refusal to let despair define the story. Hello friends, and welcome back for another double feature Friday here on ETF. This week was a heavy one, as the films I chose to tackle dealt with themes that have hit very close to home in my own life. But I welcome stories that deal with these themes, because it not only forces me to face what I have once been confronted with, but to reflect on it further, and approach it with an entirely new perspective, granted by the passage of time. A Real Pain, released in 2024, is a poignant drama that delves into themes of personal and collective pain, heritage, and the complexities of human relationships. Written, directed by, and starring Jesse Eisenberg, the film also features a standout performance from Kieran Culkin. The narrative follows David, an uptight ad salesman, and Benji, a carefree slacker, who have grown apart over the years. Their trip to Poland serves as a means to reconnect and explore their shared heritage, as they visit significant historical sites, including war memorials, cemeteries, and a defunct concentration camp. The cousins confront not only the horrors of the past, but also the strain on their own relationship. The film juxtaposes their personal dynamics against the backdrop of historical trauma, offering a nuanced exploration of how the past continues to influence the present. You ain't alone. Played out in a slow, gradual pace, the film explores its narrative through a reflective lens, allowing us to take in each moment and really feel what these characters are experiencing. The biggest thing that stood out to me was the choice that Eisenberg made when the group visits the concentration camp. There's a choice to let the score fade away, and let the scene play out in silence, as the group and us, as the audience, take in the weight of seeing it, experiencing it. But despite the craftsmanship of the filmmaking itself, the film's real strength lies in the chemistry between Eisenberg and Culkin. David's anxious rigidity contrasts sharply with Benji's unpredictable and emotionally volatile nature. This dynamic creates both comedic and poignant moments, as the cousins navigate their differences while confronting shared grief and familial history. Culkin's portrayal of Benji has been particularly praised, with some critics suggesting it may lead to an Oscar nomination. Eisenberg's direction is marked by a blend of humor and emotional depth. The film avoids didactism, instead presenting a realistic portrayal of two individuals grappling with their personal issues, amidst a setting steeped in historical significance. The narrative does not offer easy resolutions, but rather invites viewers to reflect on the complexities of inherited trauma, and the ways in which personal and collective histories intertwine. The interplay between David and Benji offers a fascinating study in contrasting personalities, and the emotional dynamics that unfold when two very different individuals are thrust into a shared experience of profound historical and personal significance. Their journey to Poland, ostensibly to connect with their Jewish heritage and honor their late grandmother, serves as both a backdrop and a catalyst for exploring themes of estrangement, identity, and the meaning of legacy. David, portrayed by Eisenberg, embodies meticulousness and emotional restraint. He is a rigid, responsible, and anxious individual whose worldview is shaped by structure and control. In contrast, Benji, played by Culkin, is an uninhibited, impulsive figure who thrives on chaos and eschews responsibility. These stark differences create natural tension between the cousins, yet their shared familial ties compel them to navigate the trip together, often resulting in a mix of humor, frustration, and eventual self-discovery. David's personality is categorized by his need for order and predictability, which is rooted in his deep-seated anxieties. His decision to go on the trip reflects his sense of obligation to his family's past and his hope to connect with a cultural heritage that he feels increasingly distant from. At least that's how it's presented in the early stages of the film. We later learn that he's more driven by a hope to reconnect with his cousin, a hope to save him from himself. David approaches the trip in a clinical manner, treating it as an itinerary that needs to be followed, rather than a deeply personal exploration. His rigidity is not only a defense mechanism, but also a reflection of his discomfort and vulnerability, both in himself and in others. Benji, on the other hand, is David's foil in almost every way. He views the trip as an opportunity for adventure, rather than a solemn pilgrimage. He sees it as a way to reconnect with his cousin, who he feels has faded away over the years. His unpredictable and emotionally volatile nature often clashes with David's structured mindset, lending to comedic and poignant moments. Benji's irreverence initially comes across as disrespectful, particularly in the context of their visit to Holocaust sites. But as the film unfolds, it becomes clear that his behavior masks deeper insecurities and unresolved pain. His connection to the trip is raw and unfiltered, driven by emotion rather than duty. The journey forces David and Benji to confront not only their differing approaches to life, but also the shared pain and loss that underpins their relationship. Their mutual grief over their grandmother's passing becomes a bridge between their personalities, as they begin to see the value in each other's perspectives. The film uses humor to highlight the cousins' differences, with Benji often mocking David's uptight demeanor, and David chastising Benji's lack of seriousness. Yet this humor serves as a way for the characters to connect and diffuse the tension of their shared experience. As the cousins visit sites of immense historical trauma, their conflict intensifies, revealing their individual struggles with identity and belonging. David's stoicism begins to crack as he grapples with the weight of history, while Benji's irreverence gives way to moments of profound vulnerability. Over the course of the trip, both characters undergo subtle transformations. David learns to embrace spontaneity and emotional expression a bit, while Benji discovers the value of reflection and responsibility. Their journey becomes less about the external sites they visit and more about the internal landscapes they explore within themselves and each other. The film's title, A Real Pain, reflects not only the historical pain they confront, but also the personal pain they carry and share. The cousins' differing approaches to life, David's insistence on control, and Benji's embrace of chaos, are rooted in the same underlying fear of loss and disconnection. Their journey allows them to process this pain together, finding strength in their differences and a renewed sense of familial bond. In many ways, the characters represent two sides of a coin. David embodies the weight of history and tradition, while Benji represents the desire to break free from its confines. Through their interactions, A Real Pain explores the tension between honoring the past and forging one's own path, ultimately suggesting that the two are not mutually exclusive. By the end of the film, David and Benji's relationship is not wholly transformed, but it is undeniably deepened. marked by a newfound respect for their differences and a shared commitment to carrying their grandmother's legacy forward in their own unique ways. But beyond the dynamics between these two characters, there was something that I took away from this that I argue struck me as more poignant. For me, the theme of the pain we carry with us was central, and it manifested on multiple levels: personal, generational, and historical. For David and Benji, their shared journey to Poland is as much about uncovering their family's history as it is about confronting the pain that they've each carried in silence. The film's exploration of this theme delves into how pain shapes identity, how it's inherited across generations, and how shared experiences can offer a path to understanding and healing. On the surface, David and Benji seem like two men with little in common beyond their familial bond. However, as the film unfolds, it becomes clear that both characters are deeply burdened by personal pain, albeit in different ways. David's pain is tied to his need for control and his sense of duty to preserve tradition. He carries the emotional weight of being the responsible one, someone who believes it's his job to uphold the family legacy. This pressure has made him rigid and emotionally guarded, suppressing his vulnerabilities. His pain is subtle and internalized, manifesting as anxiety and a yearning for connection that he doesn't know how to articulate. David's participation in the Holocaust tour reflects his attempt to reconcile this internal struggle, seeking to honor the past while grappling with his feelings of alienation. Benji's pain, by contrast, is outward and chaotic. His rebellious, free-spirited demeanor hides a deep well of unresolved grief and anger. Unlike David, Benji avoids confronting his pain directly, instead masking it with humor, deflection, and impulsivity. His detachment from tradition and lack of direction in life stems from a fear of being consumed by the weight of his emotions. The trip to Poland forces him to confront the historical and familial pain he has long tried to ignore, peeling back his bravado to reveal a more vulnerable side. The film also explores the concept of inherited trauma, specifically within the context of Jewish identity and the Holocaust. David and Benji are part of a generation that didn't directly experience the horrors of the Holocaust, but still live in its shadow. The pain they carry is not just their own, but also the collective pain of their ancestors, passed down through stories, traditions, and silences. Their late grandmother, whose memory drives the journey, symbolizes the bridge between the past and the present. While she is absent in the film, her presence is felt in the ways her pain has shaped her descendants. David and Benji's differing approaches to life reflect how individuals cope with inherited trauma. David by clinging to the structure and duty, Benji by rejecting it altogether. The trip becomes a means to understanding not only their grandmother's experiences, but also the ways in which their pain has silently influenced their own lives. Visiting Holocaust memorials and sites forces the cousins to confront the enormity of historical pain. The film emphasizes that this history is not abstract, it is personal, etched into their family's story, and by extension, their own identities. This reckoning with the past highlights the ways in which historical trauma lingers in the present, shaping how descendants of survivors perceive themselves and the world. At the heart of David and Benji's relationship is a sense of disconnection, both from each other and from their shared heritage. Their estrangement mirrors the broader theme of being disconnected from one's roots and from the pain that binds them. Initially, their inability to communicate openly exacerbates this divide, but as they journey through Poland, their shared experiences create a space for vulnerability and honesty. One of the film's most poignant messages is that shared pain, rather than dividing people, can be a source of connection. By confronting their grief together, whether it's the loss of their grandmother, the weight of their family's history, or their own personal struggles, David and Benji begin to bridge that gap between them. The film suggests that pain, when acknowledged and shared, has the power to foster empathy and understanding. Ultimately, I think a real pain is not about overcoming pain itself, but learning to live with it. For David and Benji, the trip doesn't resolve all their issues, or erase their pain, but it does offer them a new perspective on it. They come to the understanding that pain is an inevitable part of the human experience, one that connects them to their family, their culture, and to each other. By the end of the film, they both carry their pain a little differently, not as a burden to be avoided or controlled, but as a testament to their resilience and shared humanity. This theme resonates deeply because it reflects a universal truth. The pain we carry shapes who we are, but it doesn't have to define us. Through their journey, David and Benji illustrate that while pain is unavoidable, it can also be a path to growth, connection, and even healing. As much as we want to let it go, sometimes we can't. In the opening of the film, we are introduced to Benji through a long tracking shot, as he sits in an airport waiting. The title emerges over his right shoulder. When the film ends, this shot is recreated, and the title is delivered once more, this time over his left shoulder. To me, this was symbolic. Benji is a man who is stuck in life. He is a tormented soul. Despite the journey that he has just been on with David, he is still just as lost at the end of his journey as he was at the start. Sometimes the pain that we carry with us doesn't just fade away throughout our journey through life. It's baggage that we carry with us. And like any bag, sometimes it just transfers to the other shoulder for a while. Horror isn't limited to the genre, as every day threats surround us in the form of bad actors who seek to steal our data in a variety of creative ways that we will likely never see coming. But now you can keep yourself protected from threats like these with Surfshark. Protect your connection and reclaim your privacy with Surfshark VPN. Every time you go online, you're exposed to data breaches, hackers, and trackers. But with one powerful solution, you can blow them all to hell harder than Brody took out Jaws. With effortless online privacy, stay secure 24/7 with a VPN that connects, reconnects, and protects you wherever you go. Experience the web the way it was meant to be, with no ads, no trackers, and no cookie pop-ups. Try Surfshark with confidence using a 30-day risk-free trial. If it's not for you, get a full refund, no questions asked. A single subscription covers your entire household, with protection for multiple devices. There are no logs and no tracking, meaning what you do online stays private, always. Plus, with Nexus technology, you can customize your VPN experience with dynamic multi-hop and IP rotator for ultimate anonymity. Plus, WiseGuard ensures a fast, secure connection without compromise. Surfshark shields you from malware, scans files before you download them, and even blocks unauthorized access to your webcam. Data brokers often sell your personal information. Incogni fights back, removing your data from the web. Plus, you can get an alternate email and virtual phone number to protect your identity online. If you need help, their support team is always there via live chat or email. Are you ready to experience true online freedom? Try Surfshark risk-free today using the link in the description. Surf the web without tracking with a VPN. Shield your devices with antivirus, and guard your identity with an all-in-one app. Surfshark, VPN made easy, security made effortless. Following up, we further confront our grief. Grief is a terrible burden that each of us is forced to bear at some point throughout our lives. It's a battle that we always feel that we have to face alone, because we feel that no one else can comprehend the weight of it the way that we do. However, this isn't ever the case. Sometimes the ones closest to us share the same pain, maybe more than we even realize. Two women stand at the precipice of collapse, both pushed to the very brink of giving up, one ready to surrender, the other fighting not to let go. Grief, mental illness, and familial bonds are the threads that weave this poetic and deeply human story, directed by Michael McGowan and adapted from the 2014 novel. We are presented with the offering of an intimate portrayal of a family grappling with immense pain and existential questions. At the heart of all My Puny Sorrows is the relationship between two sisters, Elfrida, or Elf for short, and Yali, played by Sarah Gaydon and Alison Pill. Elf, a brilliant and accomplished pianist, struggles with suicidal depression, despite her outward success. Yali, a writer in the midst of a messy divorce, becomes the emotional anchor of the family, tasked with supporting her sister while navigating her own turmoil. The dynamic between Elf and Yali is the emotional core of the film, reflecting the deep love and unspoken tensions that often define sibling relationships. The performances by Gaydon and Pill are nuanced and deeply affecting. Gaydon's portrayal of Elf is haunting, capturing the character's fragility and longing for release. Pill, on the other hand, brings a raw intensity to Yali, balancing her anger, guilt, and fierce determination to save her sister. Together, they create a compelling portrait of two women bound by shared history and mutual dependence. The film's exploration of mental illness is both empathic and unflinching. Elf's depression is depicted not as a weakness, but as an unbearable burden that she can no longer carry. Through Elf's struggle, the film raises difficult questions about autonomy and the right to die. Yali's attempt to dissuade her sister from ending her life are fraught with moral and emotional complexity, reflecting the anguish of wanting to respect a loved one's wishes while desperately wanting them to stay. McGowan's direction avoids sensationalizing Elf's mental health struggles, instead presenting them with a quiet honesty. The film emphasizes the inadequacy of simplistic solutions, highlighting the profound disconnect between well-meaning advice and the lived experience of those suffering from depression. This sensitivity is reflected in the subdued cinematography and use of music, which underscore the film's melancholic tone without overwhelming its emotional subtlety. Grief permeates every aspect of this film, not only in Elf's struggles, but also in the family's collective history. The sister's father's suicide casts a long shadow over their lives, and the Mennonite community they grew up in adds another layer of repression and emotional suppression. The film portrays grief as both a personal and communal experience, showing how it shapes and fractures relationships. Yali's journey is one of survival, as she wrestles with the burden of being the one left behind. Her attempts to make sense of Elf's pain while grappling with her own failures highlight the complexity of survivor's guilt. The film does not shy away from showing Yali's moments of frustration and despair, making her eventual moments of resilience all the more poignant. Faith and art are recurring motifs throughout the film, reflecting the sisters' divergent paths. Elf's piano playing serves as both a refuge and a source of torment, embodying her perfectionism and inner turmoil. For Yali, writing is both a career and a coping mechanism, allowing her to process her grief and make sense of her chaotic life. The film juxtaposes their artistic pursuits with the rigid faith of their Mennonite upbringing, exploring the tension between creativity and conformity. The existential questions posed by the film are profound and unsettling. How do we find meaning in suffering? What does it mean to truly support someone we love? These questions are left deliberately unresolved, reflecting the ambiguity of real-life struggles. McGowan's script, adapted from Toe's novel, captures the lyrical quality of the source material, imbuing the dialogue with a sense of poetic intent. Visually, All My Puny Sorrows is a restrained yet evocative film. The muted color palette and soft lighting create an atmosphere of quiet melancholy, mirroring the characters' inner worlds. The use of close-ups emphasize the intimacy of the story, drawing the audience into the characters' emotions. The score, composed by Jonathan Goldsmith, complements the film's tone with its delicate and haunting melodies. The film's pacing is deliberate, allowing for moments of silence and reflection to linger. This slow rhythm may not appeal to all viewers, but it underscores the weight of the story's themes. By giving the characters room to breathe, the film invites the audience to sit with their pain and empathize. For me, the choice to let us feel each moment is deeply empathetic and reflective, offering a rare and honest depiction of mental illness and its ripple effects through life. Its weight lies in its authenticity. These themes resonate because they reflect real struggles faced by families and individuals navigating pain and loss. The title itself, All My Puny Sorrows, is drawn from a line in a Samuel Taylor Coleridge poem, underscoring the universal and timeless nature of grief and the human condition. The film leaves audiences not with resolution, but a deeper understanding of the fragility and strength that coexists in the face of suffering. Its emotional weight lingers long after the credits roll, compelling us to sit with the difficult questions it poses. Well, friends, that's gonna be all for now. As always, I implore you to check out these films for yourself. Take my opinion for what it's worth, but I urge you to formulate your own. I have linked both of these films down in the description if you want to add them to your collection. I highly recommend giving them a watch. They are beautiful films. If you enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a like, subscribe for more content, and if you really want to support the channel, come find us on Patreon. Every little bit helps the channel grow and gets us closer to the ultimate goal of being able to make videos like these for you full time. Until next time, stay safe, don't hold on to your pain, and as always, thanks for watching.